Okay, this is the tutorial for the Pickleball Social Club. So the first thing we do is evaluate the image. So we're going to look at this. We're going to view, zoom in 100%. And we can see little problems with the image before we even get started. So before we even start cleaning this image, let's just, grab our paintbrush and let's just paint like these little things that are just distractions from the original image out. I'm not going to get too in tight to things, but just a little bit of cleaning. If we look at this with our image size, we can see that it's fuzzy. So we know we have to shrink this a little bit. So we're just going to go 600. We don't want to go too much, but just a little bit will clear this up a little bit, okay? So just a little bit of shrinkage is good here. Just a little bit of cleaning, just the things that we see. And then we could crop in slightly. We don't want to go too much. Just crop it just a little bit so we don't lose any of the artwork. Not too much. Just a little crop. Okay, here we go. So now let's export that. We're going to export it as a PNG. And I'm going to name it so that we start, having a name that follows us around. So I'm going to call this Pickleball Social Club. Naming is very important so that you can search and find things, And then we're going to start with ChatGPT. Let's just see how ChatGPT does on this. So we're going to just upload it. Here's that OG image. We're going to tell it we want to create an image. And we're going to say, I need you to recreate this design exactly. I want you to do it in vector art style with crisp lines and a high attention to detail. Isolate on white. Boom. All right, so let's let ChatGPT start out cleaning our image. It's not going to be a one shot, and this might not even work. And if it doesn't, we have solutions for that, so we don't have to worry about it. But let's see if it can try. Okay, so here's what it gave us, and I think it's much better. So let's compare the ChatGPT image with the original. I'm just going to put them up side by side. Or try to. Here we go. And so we can see that it's just a lot better quality over here. Kind of put some things around some certain elements, thicken some lines. My opinion, just at first glance, I don't see any problems. I just see a much better image here. And let's zoom this into 100%. And you can see that this is already at 100%. So if I actually zoom this to be the same, it's a much better quality on the right here. So obviously that's what I'm going to go with. So let's just go with that. I was not recording, so you might have missed some things, but basically I just analyzed the difference between the original and what ChatGPT did, and now I'm upscaling it. So I've used Upscale, this program that's free, and I have now cleaned and upscaled the image. So I cropped the ChatGPT thing. I don't know what part I cut out on there, and I apologize for that. So now I'm just going to come in here, and this is where the decisions have to be made. I mean, I don't want this white background, So I just want all of the parts that we need to keep. And since it's really big when I'm doing this, it's really easy to start getting rid of things. So I'm going to select the white here. I'm going to go find all the white because that's what I want to get rid of. And I'm just using an 80 tolerance. And I'm just literally selecting all the white. At this stage, I'm learning the image. So I don't really know what I'm going to finally do to make this image ready. But I'm learning it right now. And what I mean by learning it, I'm just kind of playing with it to see what I get. So I'm just trying to figure out where all the parts of the white. I mean, if you just want it around the outside, you just click outside and you're going to have this white inside. But, I want to get rid of that. I don't know what you're putting there. I don't know what color shirt you're putting that on this on. The thing that makes the most sense is to get rid of all the whites. And so that's what I'm choosing to do. Now, I'm not going to actually select the whites here. Okay. I'm going to actually just do Control-Shift-I to select the part that is not white. So I just inverted my selection. And I'm going to push in about 1 pixel. So we'll just do Image, Select, Modify, Contract. I'm going to contract by 1 pixel. And that's just coming right in. And that's going to deal with a lot of my edging. A lot of little edginess is going to go away because I'm just inside the previous selection. Now I hit Control-C and then Control-Shift-V. And I'll turn this background layer off. Now I'm going to put a solid color of black and put it right behind my image and just kind of grade my work. And look, I've got problems. I've got a problem right here. I need to get rid of that. And I'll just do Select, Modify, Expand. I'll expand that by 1 pixel and then hit Delete. And that should have dealt with that and not created any more problems. And I mean, this is totally acceptable at this point. So another trick would be to turn off contiguous. And we'll just click here. Okay. And that got into that bow and everything. So I'm just going to change my tolerance down to 20 and see if I can help that. Yeah, that's still getting the bow. 20. Oops, I don't know what just happened there. Control-D, deselect. Now I'm not getting into the bow, or at least I'm not getting into it much. And I'll just be picky and make sure I don't get into it at all. So I'm using Alt and I'm using my lasso tool to just kind of deselect those parts. All right. And what I'm planning on doing is just making sure that all of this is a consistent color. And I don't want parts that I don't want. So I'm just going to get rid of, I don't need to select everything. I'm just trying to flatten out the color as much as I can. I'm going to Control-C, Control-Shift-V. So now I've got 2 layers. And you can see there's lots of color variations here, okay? And I just want all this to be a consistent color. I'm going to pick what I think is a true version of that color. And then do my blending options and do a color overlay. And then set it to that color. And that's just going to make my graphics feel really crisp and sharp. You can see the difference. Like, see how there it is with all the variations in the green. There it is where it's all solid. Off, on. Okay? And now I'm going to turn off that black background. Let's prepare this to send to print. I mean, if I needed that white, if I wanted that white there, I would just pick this. Actually, let's Control-D that. I'm not sure what's happening. I want to sample all layers. I'm going to turn contiguous back on. I can just pick this pink, and I could actually do the same thing. So I could do Select, Modify, Expand, and I'll just go like 5 pixels. So I get way outside of it, and I can just cut that off this layer and then paste it onto its own layer. And actually, I just saw a little problem with what I did. I see little bits of pink and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control-Z that, and I'm going to turn my tolerance up to 80 and shift select these again to make sure I'm getting that, and then also do that Select, Modify, Expand to get like a little 5 pixel edge around everything. Control-X, Control-Shift-V. Let's pick a clean part of the color. Let's do blending options, color overlay, and let's choose that pink. Okay, and what I wanted to show you is, this might look nice, especially when I was putting this against any kind of shirt, actually. I could put a stroke around this, and I could choose white, and I could choose the outside, and I could stroke that out to actually fill those gaps. And we'll just look at that against black and see, So, I would need to make that stroke bigger to like match the original design, and now I'm kind of having a little bit of a problem. But what I need to do is just put that on top. And now I've got my stroke. If that's what I wanted to do here, it's not necessarily what I have in mind here. I'm just showing you what you can do when you start taking control of the artwork. Okay. Now let's trim it. Image trim, transparent pixels. That fits it right around the artwork. And then we're going to look at our size because now we're going for our destination size. So at this moment, you need to take note that you got 4972 up here. So there's no point in making anything less, more than 4,500. I have a 16 by 20 press, so 15 by 19, which is the standard screen printing dimensions. That's the correct thing to do, is 15 by 19. So if I change this to inches and I change this to 300 and I keep resample off, you can see it's 16 by 20. So I would change this to 15, and if this was greater than 19, then I would reduce this to 19 for the height. But I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to turn resample back on. I'm going to go with 15 by 18.376 because I don't know what your destination size is. You should make this exactly your destination size at this point, because the next step is to merge all your layers, okay? And then there's these little tiny transparent pixels. This is really getting nitpicky. You probably don't need to worry about this, but I'm just going to show you. There's little tiny semi-transparent pixels that are happening because of all these different transforms we're doing. It's because of anti-alias being on. And we want that for a smooth result until we decide we don't want it, and which is this moment right here. We're going to set this. So we're just going to do layer mask, from transparency. We're going to select the mask. We're going to zoom in, and we'll see those semi-transparent pixels. Everything that's pure white is totally opaque, and everything that's pure black is totally transparent. And we're just going to do image adjustments threshold, okay? And now I've got this perfect stair step. There's no semi-transparent pixels. But I would have done that at my destination size. And I don't know what your destination size is. This is still going to print fine, probably at any size less than 15 inches. But I'm just wanting to show you like what a perfectionist would do. So now I'm going to call this RTP 4500PX, so I know the max size that I can print this at. That's the only size I should really print it at. But going smaller is fine. It'll still have a little bit of semi-transparency, but it just won't be that noticeable. You might just see a little white edge around the outside. Still pretty good. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this in my customer service folder, because I can't send you an image over the internet unless I send it in a Google Drive, So I'm just going to make a folder for you. The thing to do is to have a Google Drive and make a folder. So you can store all your images, or store them on your local device. So I'm going to make a folder, and then I'm going to put that in there, and you have to make sure to share the folder. And I just share it, and I say anyone with the link, because I don't know what you're logged into your browser as, who you are on your browser, and maybe you send it to yourself in an email and need to get it somewhere else. So there's the final file. It's uploading. I'm just going to share and copy this link and send that to you in Messenger. Boom. All right. I hope that helps.